Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday, March 19th, 2020 regular meeting of the Board of Directors, although it's not very regular. I'm Kathy Baum, President and Apartment Owners Representative. We are operating under social distancing guidelines suggested by the federal and local governments. We've allowed for 10 people in the room. We have 4 spots for RA directors and staff, being Julie Bitzer, Vice President and South Lakes Representative, Hank Lynch, our CEO, and Anthony Champ, our counsel, and myself. We have 6 spots for members. We have directors on the line who have called in. I know this isn't the best way to run a meeting, but we have 21,000 members, and it's important that we try to conduct business as best we can. So to establish quorum, I am going to call out each director's name, district, and ask you to respond here. And if you have any comments, please feel free to make them. Karen Anton, Hunters Woods.
Here.
Doug Britt, at large. Eric Carr, at large.
Here.
Ben Iyer, at large.
Here.
John Mooney, North Point.
Here, and Madam President, I would at some point like to publicly clarify something.
Do you want to do it now?
That's fine.
Okay.
I'll be brief. First, as anyone who watches these board meetings knows, whenever a land use issue comes before the board, I always disclose that I'm a member of the Coalition for Planned Reston, or CPR. And I still am. Secondly, a couple of weeks ago, CPR published an online endorsement of 2 candidates for the Reston Association Board of Directors. Those 2 facts require me to make several points clear. I was totally surprised by this endorsement. I knew nothing about it beforehand and was never consulted about it directly or indirectly by anyone. I do not consider myself bound by that endorsement. I never have, as a board member, publicly endorsed any candidate for the RA board. And finally, my statement tonight should not be understood as either an endorsement or a critique of any current candidate for the RA board. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Tom Mulcairn, at large.
Kathy.
Yes?
Kathy, this is Ben. There is an echo for the folks on the phone. I don't know if others can hear it as well. I don't know if there is a loop that needs to be closed out. You cannot hear it on YouTube, but you can hear it from folks on the phone, and I cannot follow what's going on at all because of that.
Can Sean hear us?
Sean, can you hear us?
I can. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like I can curtail the echo. Is this happening for all the callers? Is it difficult for them to follow?
Is it happening to everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Does that include are they only doing phone versus trying to also follow on YouTube? Wasn't there advice to only do one?
I think it's within the phone, not with the YouTube.
How is it right now? I did try one other item.
Somebody say something.
The people who are on the phone do an echo. The people that are at the meeting, you can hear you fairly clearly.
And even now, Tom, when Tom spoke, I think that was Tom, it was fine. So I guess if folks are on the phone, just be on mute. I think that might help.
Ben, it didn't happen just now when you spoke, at least on my end.
It got better.
With everybody else on the phone?
Yeah, I can hear things a lot better now.
It's fixed. I think it's fixed.
Did we lose the conference room? I think we may have lost the
we're here.
live.
We're here.
Okay, so
Okay.
basically,
Somebody did some magic then.
all right.
Thank you.
Okay, Tom, thank you, John Mooney. Tom Mulcairn, at large.
Here?
And Aaron Webb, Lake Ann, Tall Oaks.
I'm here.
And me.
Okay. Julie Bitzer,
Kathy,
South.
just one correction. It's Hunter's Woods Dogwood. I think you just said Hunter's Woods. I don't want to give short shrift to the people in Dogwood.
Okay, thank you. Julie Bitzer, South Lakes, Vice
South Lakes.
President.
I am here and present.
And I am here and present.
Madam President, I believe Doug Britt just came on.
Doug, are you on?
Yes.
Okay, so we have everybody on board. Okay, before we move to the agenda, I'd like you to know that by unanimous written consent, the following agenda items, D, excluding only the approval of February's meeting minutes, and item F were approved by the board. Further, by unanimous written consent, items G, H, I, and J have been deferred by the board to the May board meetings. There are no items for executive session. Just want to let everybody know that under the committee volunteer appointments, we appointed Karen Noel and Bruce Ramo as laypersons, and we appointed Scott Fundling and Daniel Galindo as professional members, and all the appointments are for 3 years. Okay. You're on.
I'm on. I would like to make a motion to approve.
Speak loud.
Louder. I would like to make a motion to approve the amended March 19th board meeting agenda.
Madam President, point of order. We didn't amend the agenda. You just made opening statements. If you follow the motions, there were motions.
She's reading off of your sheet.
You want to start with item 4?
Move to amend the March agenda to remove the following items. CD, excluding only the February meeting minutes, items F, G, H, I, J, and L.
Second. Did you guys all hear that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm calling for.
Okay. I guess that, yeah, we did remove F because we approved it by unanimous consent. So, okay, yes.
Okay, all in favor of the motion? Say aye.
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 Any noes? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
I would also like to move to remove from item D, the consent calendar, the February board minutes from consent and place it as the new item F on the regular agenda.
Second. You all heard that motion?
Yes.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Any noes? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
I would like to now move to adopt the amended agenda.
Second. You all heard that?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any noes? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Okay.
You've got the next one.
I would like to move to adopt the February meeting minutes as amended. It's the new item F, and the amendment, the change in the February meeting minutes was on item D. On the Stone Turn report, the presentation was done by the treasurer. I did not present. I simply asked for that information to be presented to the board. So I would like that corrected in the minutes.
Second.
I would second that motion as the presenter of said report.
Thank you, Eric. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any noes? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
There's one other item in the minutes, item F, that I saw. I thought we only did the,
February meeting minutes.
of item G.
Well, we just approved the meeting minutes.
Just approve the February meeting minutes.
As
with that
amended with
amendment.
your item.
I had two items.
Well, you should have,
I
I didn't.
I said item G. I didn't Well, the second one was simply a clarification because I did not feel that it explained what it was we were going to do. So I was seeking clarification.
Sorry, Julie.
We can still get you that clarification.
That would be appreciated.
I'll send Christina an email.
Okay, so pretty much everything's been deleted. We're moving now on to the conflict of interest resolution. We have a member who is going to make comments. Mr. Flashman is here this evening. We will have a motion, we will have a second, we will have discussion. What I'm going to do is ask each director to tell me whether or not you have any comments for discussion, and then I will call you in order. When you're finished speaking, if you will just say, "Done speaking," so we could move on to the next person. Everybody got that?
Yes.
Yes.
Cool. Okay.
Still my turn?
Yep.
Good. As the Vice President and Chair of the Board of Governance Committee, I would like to move to adopt the Conflict of Interest Resolution as presented in our board package tonight.
I'll second that for purposes of discussion. And I would like to propose an amendment, two very small amendments.
Okay, John?
May I tell what they are?
Sure.
They are found on page 4 of the clean copy of the version before the board. And they are found in subsections B1, small c, and 3 and 4. So subsection 3 and subsection 4 of B1C. And they're very small. In section B1C3, I recommend that we add after the words Virginia Stock Corporation Act a parenthetical note that would read, concerning the validity of such a vote, end parenthesis, and then ending the sentence as written, shall govern. The reason for that is in our discussions at the last Board Governance Committee, one of our members, our general members, pointed out that it was not clear what that was dealing with, whether it was dealing with the validity of the vote or whether it was talking about the conflicted vote of the member, of the director. And this has nothing to do with the director, it only has to do with the validity of the vote. The second small amendment is really small, and that is in section B1C4, so right below the previous section, because they are defined terms in the resolution, we should capitalize material economic interest. Those are my proposed amendments. And I would appreciate a second.
May I accept that change?
Well, it would need to be seconded and then
We
voted
have to
on.
vote on the amendment.
Okay, I second it.
Okay, Julie has seconded it. I think that's the correct word. Is there any,
Madam President, may I just point out, in the version that I'm looking at, material economic interest is capitalized, but I noticed the version in the board packet, it was not, so at some point it was corrected. There's been a lot of different versions floating back and forth, but I did notice that, John, when I saw your recommended amendment, and I looked at my copy, I said, but it is. But I guess somehow it got uncapitalized in the latest version.
That seems to be the case, Karen. Yep.
okay, so you just have one amendment. Is that what we're saying now?
I believe you made a motion for two.
Well,
Two.
This is Doug speaking a minute, if I can, Madam President. I think we had an email earlier this afternoon from Ms. Easterly, where she fixed John's recommended changes. So she sent out a new page
Ah.
4
The new
that
page,
has changes already in it.
right, but just, Doug, it's Anthony Champ here. That's not what was before the board to be voted on. Julie's original motion was to approve the document that's in your packet. So whatever Christina sent is irrelevant for the purposes of discussion, and thus the reason that John made the 2 amendments contained in his motion.
Okay, so we have a second on
John's.
John's amendment. So we have to vote on John's amendment.
Correct.
So all in favor of John's amendment, please say aye.
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 Any noes? Any abstentions? Okay, John's motion carries.
Now back to mine.
Okay, so we are back to Julie's motion as amended. So we're open for discussions. I'm going to let Erwin Flashman speak first. Please state your name and address.
My name is Erwin Flashman. I live at 1327 Buttermilk Lane. Yesterday, I submitted to the board a series of comments on the proposed conflict of interest policy resolution and made suggestions for amendments. I believe all of you have received that document. I believe the document is straightforward and clear in terms of my position and the intent and the proposed amendments. I do not think that it's necessary for me to belabor what I wrote, but I would be willing to entertain any questions or concerns with respect to what I have written.
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Flashman? Hello? Okay, humor me by saying no.
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 I would urge you to consider seriously the proposed amendments. I think they make the document more clear, they make it more understandable, and they avoid the possibility of confusion. They also provide for, among other things, the provision of information to the board members and other covered officials with regard to the contracts that are had by the Reston Association with others, as well as contracts under active consideration, so that a clear statement can be made with regard to conflict of interest should that arise with those very contracts. Without that provision of information, you do not know what you're dealing with. And there is no requirement that that information be made available or timing as to when it would be made available. And I think, therefore, that that is an essential element. I also believe that the affiliated Reston interest group definition is inadequate and should be eliminated, as it should be from the use of the term in the statement that is to be signed by each of you. It adds confusion. It, as I pointed out in my statement, is very open and very subjective. And I gave you an example in my statement as to how that could be interpreted so that it would avoid the very thing that John Mooney is attempting to attain with his use of the term. And it could be done in very good faith. And so it is, for me, useless. It should be removed. In fact, the document at the beginning in the last whereas clause states that it is limiting itself to economic issues and not to non-economic issues. And so therefore, this is a non-economic issue, as in the example I gave you of the soccer player, and it should be considered in the code of ethics. John has made an amendment with regard to B3, and while it does reference the limitation with regard to what the Virginia Non-Stock Corporation Act governs, it does not affirm the application of section 3.5D2 to the individual who does not reveal a conflict of interest, and that is from the section of the deed. And I think it should be reiterated in the body so that it is very clear that that section will continue to apply.
Anybody have any comments?
There are some other minor amendments that I suggested for clarification and timeliness to the agreement. These are the general objections I have, but you can refer to the document itself for a full description. Any questions?
Any questions? Any comments?
I don't have any. No comments.
No.
No comment?
Okay.
Well, I will make a comment. We have worked very long and very hard on getting this document to where it is. I think it's a great start for improving that piece of our transparency to our constituency, and I would appreciate the full board support of passing this resolution.
Any other comments?
I have a comment.
Karen?
I concur with everything that Julie just said, and I am good with it the way it is. I also want to thank the committee members who, and Erwin, who gave us their comments, and to thank John for compiling them and sharing that with us this afternoon. Thank you all. I don't want to get into having to make a lot of amendments here because, as Julie said, and I just concurred with, we've worked long and hard on this. Other boards before this one have worked long and hard on it. My only comment about what we have received from committee members is I really like Ken Adams' definition of conflict of interest better than what we have. I'm not proposing that we amend it, but it might be something to be looked at in the future. I think it's clearer and better syntax, and I like it. That's my only comment.
This is Doug. Have a comment?
Hi, Doug.
Just with regard to B1A, it's the invitation and remainder to disclose. In the revised,
Doug, you're going to have to speak a little louder.
with regard to B1A,
B1A,
B1A.
invitation and reminder disclosed.
it looks like we have struck out the second and third sentence where we're no longer inviting the directors to disclose, but we have left the word invitation, as Erwin pointed out, in the title. So I think someone just forgot to strike that out from the title.
See what he's saying.
Yeah, I see what he says. That's we can,
Do we need a motion for that?
it's typographical, Scrivener's.
Okay, it's a typographical. Thank you, Doug.
So you're suggesting we would remove the invitation?
Yeah.
And just as a reminder?
Yes.
I
what
see.
meant.
Okay.
Anybody else have any comments?
This is Eric.
Yes, Eric.
I want to briefly endorse, as Karen did, Ken Adams' comment on what interest means in terms of service to the association. I don't want to make an amendment to this proposal at this time. I encourage future boards to take that into consideration and maybe some tweaking of this when we can sit down and make sure we do that properly and in due course. Thank you. That's the end of my comment.
I disagree with Ken Adams' interpretation, because it is not whether or not the interest impairs you or not. You can still have a conflict of interest and be perfectly competent to vote on that. That's something that we wrestle with at BGC.
Yeah.
Erwin was extremely vocal on that. It's not whether or not it you have a it's not whether or not it will detrimentally affect the association or you will benefit from it. It's whether or not the interest exists in fact.
Right.
Yeah, let me say, Tony, I agree with what you say. I want to make sure we are understanding boundaries around interest, right? That you know, the nature of interest, right, can extend even beyond economics or beyond non-material interest. I just want to make sure, I add my name to endorse those comments because I want to make sure that the principles of this approach focus on things that can materially interest us. I think it's absolutely right to expect that if you've got an interest, you disclose it. It doesn't preclude you from voting. I want that to be kind of a guide stone for us.
Understood.
Anyone else?
Madam President, this is John.
Hi, John.
Hi, I would like to make a comment on Ken Adams' definition, and then indicate my readiness to comment on Irwin's points if the other board members desire. I like it sounds nice, Ken's thing. What I'm concerned about is the breadth of the term "a situation," because what we're talking about is not just any situation. We're talking specifically about a board vote or other official act, and I think we may come back to something like Ken's definition, but my concern is that as it now stands, and Tony can explain this infinitely better than I, but it almost is as broad as what's called the duty of loyalty rather than the requirement to avoid a conflict of interest. So the duties of loyalty is a director's responsibility at all times to act in the best interest of their organization. Here we're specifically saying you have to avoid conflicts of interest specifically in board votes and in other official acts which are defined. So for me it's too broad, though I like the clarity of language. Is that clear? And Tony, did I say anything wrong there?
No, John, that was probably exactly how I would have explained the duty of loyalty.
Do you have any other comments, John?
Only if there are questions to me.
I'm sorry?
Only if anyone has any questions to me. I would like to approve this. Anyone on the board governance committee knows that I would more in this resolution, but it was clear that I was unable to persuade my colleagues on the board governance committee and my friend Irwin of my position. So, but I find this a good one, and I would simply like to pass it as is.
I appreciate that we've been able to take steps towards resolving some of the unknown and get some clarity in our conflict of interest. So like anything, it can always be improved as time goes on and we see how it works.
Irwin, do you want to say something else?
I would simply ask that my submission, which I made by email, be appended to the minutes and published with them. When you publish the minutes, I would like my statement to be appended to it and published as well. Thank you.
Do we need a motion, or do I just direct staff to do that?
Just direct staff.
Okay, everybody, did you hear what Irwin requested?
Yes, I'm fine with it.
Okay, I'm directing staff to append his email to our minutes and include it in the public record. Are there any other comments? Okay, so,
I don't have any comments.
I'm sorry?
I believe he said he
I
doesn't
don't have any comments. This is Director Webb.
Okay. So I just want to, before I call the vote, acknowledge the incredible amount of work, because I attended some of the BGC meetings. Irwin. There were other people who attended those meetings. We got comments from both the Fiscal Committee as well as the Covenants Committee. And I want to thank those people for giving us their comments. I know a huge amount of work has gone into this. It is not a perfect document, but I am very, very proud of all of the work and the people who have been involved in this. So I want you all to know that, and if you're a liaison to any committee that's involved in this, if you would please extend my thanks for all of their hard work, I would appreciate it.
Will do.
So I'm going to call a vote if there are no more comments. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any noes? Any abstentions? We have a conflict of interest resolution, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Should have brought some Dom.
We should know. Okay, so I just have a few more
Tony, who
comments.
says we didn't?
I just have a few more comments. Thank you, Erwin, I appreciate it. I just have a few more comments before I let Eric do his most favorite motion. RA has taken steps to protect employees and visitors to our facilities and support greater social distancing. We've canceled all recreational activities, events, including the Nature House at the Walker Center, through, as of today, April 18. Advisory and work group meetings have been canceled through March 29 and will be reviewed at that time. We have discontinued walk-in service at RA headquarters, but member services are here answering the phones in the background. If you need to contact member services, they're there from Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5. I've got an update on our capital projects from Chris. Projects are moving along or just ahead of schedule and on budget. Yesterday, the demolition of the dock had been completed and crews have performed 50% of the dredging beneath the dock. The canal bulkhead is approximately 75% complete. The dredging of the canal will start upon completion of the bulkhead and dredging around, and we're anticipating that the work will be completed on or around May 1st. And if you have not yet seen any of that activity at Lake Ann, it's just fascinating the way the equipment is working and the dredging is doing, and for somebody who likes construction, I'm fascinated. Pool projects are moving along on schedule and budget. As of last week, Tall Oaks Wading Pool is complete with the plaster removed and new tile coping installed. Hunter's Woods Pool is nearing 50% completion with the majority of accumulated plaster removed and initial preparations for tile coping underway. Golf Course Island is also nearing 50% completion with the majority of plaster removed and preparations for the tile coping. North Shore Pool is gearing up. However, specific projects, fencing and shade structure, will be delayed due to the postponed DRB meetings, and we need approval from our DRB. The Central Services Facility roofing and security fencing replacement. The fencing has been postponed to mid-April due to schedule overlap with the roofing project. And you all remember that stuff was coming from South Africa, and there's been some delay. The roofing replacement on the warehouse is starting this week and will continue for the next 3 weeks. So that's kind of an update. We're still collecting assessments. DRB staff is handling as many applications as they can handle. They've gotten some leeway from the DRB, and panels will be reviewing to make sure we're good, but we're trying to keep the business going as long as possible. Anybody have any comments?
Yes, Madam President.
John?
But before Eric does his thing, I would like to recognize the fact that this is your last regular board meeting that you're presiding over as our president. And I want to publicly commend you for the firm, fair, efficient way that you've helped us work together as a board this year in a very challenging year, a year with many changes and many challenges. So thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
I second that. And
Hear, hear.
Thank you.
here.
Vote.
And to outgoing directors, Britt and Carr,
Vote on.
farewell and thank you for your service.
Yes,
Julie, what are you voting on?
thank you.
People should vote.
Yeah, I'm going to get to that.
Especially for your many years of service as treasurer, Eric.
And I just want to remind everyone that we have not reached quorum. It is really important for you to reach out to everyone you know in Reston to remind them that we're in the middle of elections. Elections close out April 2nd. Please vote. And then, Eric, go ahead.
First, a brief comment. I just want to commend Hank and the staff for their focus on customer service despite these incredibly trying and just unprecedented times. I think the association is doing a great job of trying to balance the needs of the staff and the needs of our membership. With that, Madam President, I move to adjourn.
Thank you, Eric. And please, everybody, stay safe, healthy, take care of your families, hug your kids. And all in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye. Any noes? No abstentions, the motion carries. Please.